do. So I'm an electronic engineer by training. I'm from Mexico. I was born and raised in Mexico City, and around Mexico, my first interactions with nature were with my granddad. My granddad was a medic, a physician, and he just loved walking in nature. Back then, definitely for his generation, walking in nature meant hunting, although he rarely hunted anything. But I do remember vividly a hike that I had with him and my brother just outside Mexico City, about an hour. And it was in this location where Lush Valley started to change before my eyes. And during my life, it went from a Lush Valley to rice paddies to then cornfields to then housing developments. And now it's some sort of mix of a housing development with a golf course that is completely depleted the biodiversity and the community that was there. So that was a very, it took 20 plus years to see that transformation before my eyes, and it broke my granddad's heart. And so that was one forming component of just seeing what nature can do, but also see what can humans do to nature. And on the other side, I've always wanted to be an inventor. I wanted to create, but I wanted to focus those inventions for impact. And actually, in engineering as a definition is a use of science and its implementation towards the betterment of societies and the planet. So that really was honed into me for 5 years as I started at the National Autonomous University in Mexico. And one of the first ideas that I had was to put solar street lamps in rural Mexico. And I had to do this as part of my social training that all engineers have to do in Mexico. And that was the start where I started to see how a solution that is driving a force can have a very deep impact into a community. Back then, it was just having lights at night in a community that either has a very bad grid or almost no grid, could be having just lights at night, booming commerce and decreasing criminality. So very tangibly, I saw impact. The innovation was first professional lights code from my side was to be controlling it from Mexico City, even though it was very remote. That catalyzed into my first startup, of which I had a modest exit. I didn't even know what a startup was. I just wanted to continue to invent this. And so that has been my career, fortunately. I've had a lot of luck of experiencing pain points and figuring out how technology can solve it. As my career developed, the PhD over at Imperial College was an amazing set point to then be immersed also in a fellowship in entrepreneurship at design with artists and designers in the Royal College of Art. And this combination with an MBA, basically a business degree, where I really wanted to literally go into a cave to think about an idea that could yet again have impact. And I was fortunate as well to then use wireless power transfer to power sensors that were measuring water quality conditions. And that started to evolve into soil moisture potential, pH soil levels, and basically measuring the environment for different applications. And in that process, I experienced directly what human-centered design, basically honing in a bit more that muscle of understanding where the pain points, where the impact could lie if technology is challenged appropriately. And so that was the formation of my second startup called Drayson Technologies. One of my mentors and friend, Lord Drayson, who led the company, basically taught me the ropes as to how to run a business. And fortunately enough, again, and really the backdrop of Cultivo is that that company had a spin-off called Sensa Health, starting with measuring air pollution and its impact on health for asthma and COPD patients. And that was listed in the London Stock Exchange about 6.5 years ago. And that really gave me and my co-founder, James Clifton, the bandwidth to start properly thinking about Cultivo. And at the personal forming moment, I discovered now more deeply nature in the UK. I had the opportunity to live there for 12 years. And yet again, at the age of 35, I was with my wife hiking in the Peak District, celebrating the IPO. And we went from this lush forest slash grassland into a completely barren land, almost, I don't know, like Mordor. And so that was a critical point for me to, and her actually, she prompted me to then say, okay, what are we going to do about this? If we even want to have a family, this should not be happening as much as it's happening. So as simple as that from a personal experience, Laurie, was some of those forming situations across my life that allow me to then think about Cultivo and do this important work.